Created by Yoshihiro Togashi, Yu Yu Hakusho was a series that followed Yusuke Urameshi, who after dying saving a child's life is tested to see if he can be revived, and when he does, he becomes a spirit detective, solving crimes involving ghosts and demons. But then the series slowly went into a more traditional shonen direction with martial arts and tournaments, all that fun stuff. Most of you probably know Togashi's latest work, Hunter x Hunter, as is known as being one of the best stories ever. Yu Yu Hakusho is similar. While not lasting nearly as long, it is one of the best-selling manga of all time and is often cited as being the golden standard for how to structure shonen story arcs. Despite the manga and anime releasing in 90s Japan, it wasn't brought to the West until the early 2000s, when, there was a small interest in anime at the time. And the company that dubbed the anime, the late Funimation, partnered with Atari to make and publish some games based on the series, most likely trying to replicate their success with other games based on anime. So they got the fantastic developers Sensory Sweep Studios, who are known for... Oh, this is their first game. But they went on to make the My Coach series on DS. Those are games, technically. And the other developer, when I go to their website, is just a download link for a dirt track racing mobile game. Well, these two titans of the industry came together to make Yu Yu Hakusho's Spirit Detective on the Game Boy Advance. Well, that certainly is music, not the kind I'd associate with a shonen action series, but close enough. Well, those certainly are graphics. Jesus! The game just started, and within the first few seconds, a guy comes up to punch me before I can even figure out what the frick is even going on. Okay, look, I'm aware this is not a well-received game, to put it lightly, but I'm not here just to shit on a game for no reason for however long this video is. Instead, I'm going to try looking for some positives. I mean, I'm still going to shit on it for many reasons, but still looking for good things about it. The story, there's no point in talking about it. To no one's surprise, it's the story of the anime, ending right before the Dark Tournament arc. I will say this is one of those bastardizations of the story. Most of the dialogue is just exposition. It feels less like characters talking and more the devs copy and pasted summaries from a fan wiki. I thought it was maybe some translation issues, but remember, this was made in the West, with the official dubbing company. It did bring about one of the greatest lines in video game history. I expected you to be hamburger by now. Literary genius. I'm not being sarcastic. Alright, so the graphics. Well, it was ambitious of them to do this isometric camera angle, and the models, color-wise, resemble the characters. I can tell who I'm playing as. That's a good thing, right? The game is structured in levels, even though most of them take place in this pub area. It's less about getting to the end of a level, and it's more of an adventure game, going from point A to point B to point C, back to point A. Usually your objectives being... find the little boy? No comment. Well, trying to find little boys is harder than some YouTubers make it look. You have no map, only a compass to tell you a vague direction to go, which is fine, not a big deal. The problem is all the walls that block your path. You head in the right direction, but constantly are blocked by walls or buildings that are all built in a straight line with no gaps. Like most cities are. So most of your time is following the compass, coming to a wall, and having to walk all the way around. Almost there. Slow and steady. Slow and steady. It's a good time to just contemplate life, while we're doing this. Jeez, come on, finally. Oh great, now I have to go somewhere else. Time to go back. And remember, you do this a lot since it's an adventure game, kind of. The worst of this is in a level where you play as Kuwabara, going around collecting homework. It's not important why, but there is a catch. For story reasons, you can't fight anyone. Your A button, which is usually punch, does nothing. So it's literally just you following the compass trying to pick up garbage. Who at the language teaching Dirt Track Racing Studios said, yeah, that sounds fun. Not gonna lie, it is probably one of the most tedious things I've ever done in a video game, especially when listening to this music. Which I can only describe as generic mobile game music. Inoffensive, not super annoying, but you forget about it as soon as you turn off the game. I didn't mind it at first until wandering around for too long. I realized it only plays for like 30 seconds, then loops. So honestly, after this, I muted the game because I heard some of the other songs and yeah, I don't think I need to hear any more. So finally the combat. To no one's surprise, it's bad. Just mash the A button. That's it. It's combat in a Game Boy game. There's not much else you can do. Eventually you do get spirit powers, like Yusuke's iconic spirit gun. They are underwhelming, either not doing enough damage or just plain bad. Even when you get multiple characters like Kurama and Hiei, there really is not much difference between each character besides their powers. Kurama has a whip, which seemed useless to me. Hiei does have a teleport to get past walls sometimes, which was nice. But in the latter half of the game, I stuck with Kuwabara, not because of his power, which was just an effect that claimed to do damage, and apparently is a sword, but because he had the most strength, so I could kill enemies faster. Oh, right, I'm supposed to be looking for good things. Well, maybe we'll find it in this level, where we play as Keiko, which is spelled wrong. Again, this isn't a translation, how they messed that up. You have to save Yusuke's body in his house that's on fire, as you do. And I guess he got some remodeling done because his house is a maze now, and when I was playing it, it made no sense. Yeah, I got lost for probably a good 20 minutes, so eventually I just gave up and looked up a guide, and now I know why I was so lost, because you would think you pay attention to the layout of the rooms, right, to figure out where you're going? Nope, because there are really only 4 designs for each room. Instead, you pay attention to the pattern of the fire. Of course. Why would I do that? Even then, how would I know which direction is the right one? There's usually at least a 50-50 guess on where to go, so even if I got it wrong, it's kind of hard to tell if I went back to the beginning. Okay, there wasn't any fun there. How about in the level where you take the test to become Genkai's disciple, where we play a bunch of minigames, add some variety, like mashing a button, and a reaction test. And I kid you not, the absolute worst rhythm game I've ever played. Don't believe me? Here, I'll play it in full for you. Fuck, sorry, positive vibes. I really am trying to be nice here, okay? It's harder than it looks. And I want to do this because, during my research of this game, reading the Wikipedia page, apparently only 15 people worked on this game, and this was made in 5 months, which for any game is no time at all. And remember, game development is hard. And it's not like the publishers could have just given the devs more time. That would have been impossible. So that excuses bad games. So yeah, I'm not trying to pick on an easy target or anything. I really am trying to find nice things to say about this game. It's just really hard. But I guess I don't get an excuse. I mean, I'm only halfway through the game, right? Maybe it gets better in the second half, Maybe it's a slow starter. I mean, there's got to be something interesting they put in this game. Oh, what about the bosses? Oh no, they suck too. Oh, these anime illustrations. The sprite work here is great. Really looks like the show. These are amazing. And, that's the only good thing I can say? No, there has to be something else. Like, come on, every one of these games has to have something, right? The point of anime games is to find these neat, kind of weird games, based on anime properties, not to be the anime video game nerd. So you know what, let's keep playing. I refuse to believe that this game is just straight up bad. There has to be something, there has to be something. Okay, well, I'm at the last boss and haven't found anything. Yet. Of course the last boss is Toguro, who is honestly super unfair. Well, maybe. Remember when I talked about strength? Yes, like an RPG, you have stats you level up by beating enemies and taking their water balloons for experience. Never mentioned that because it doesn't matter much. I mean, I have no idea how damage is calculated in this game, so I started skipping enemies a lot because I didn't want to play this game anymore, so maybe I'm underleveled for the end. But still, Toguro is ridiculous. You can only use Yusuke, who I wasn't focusing on if you remember, and he kills you in like 3 hits. And look how much damage you do to him. What's even the point of giving me multiple characters if I have to stick with one at the end? So yeah, the boss is mainly hard because it's just unfair. So you know what, like some of the greatest video game champions of our time, let's cheat. It's not like I really care about beating this game, legit, I made it this far without cheats, let's just see the ending. Well, did you know you can buy this in a bundle with Dragon Ball Taiketsu, or what the fuck? Oh, it's one of those games where there's an extra boss after the last boss to trick you into thinking you can relax and you've actually beaten the game. Maybe some games are just bad, and that's okay. Like, comment, subscribe.
Everybody here, here it goes. What you think? Right, that's what we here for.